Before we dive into the content of our course, we want to set the scene by discussing how working on a virtual project is different from classical project work. The main difference lies in the fact that projects have become very complex. As companies and organizations become international, project teams become more and more distributed. While in the past there might have been one or two remote team members, today you find a lot of teams that are distributed across many time zones, and physical distance and cultural differences create a very diverse setting. But it's not just the complexity within the team that has increased. Also, the project context has become more diverse. For instance, more stakeholders have an influence on the project and can affect changes that impact your work. Distance forces organizations and teams to rely much more than in the past on new forms of communication and collaboration, namely online tools. These tools have a big potential. They can make the lives of project teams much easier. But first, to use them, you require new skills and styles of communication, and that again increases the complexity of getting started with them. What does that mean for project management? First of all, classical project management concepts and methods are still useful. What is different is how they are applied in a project. I just explained that complexity has increased and change that affects you and your project is faster and less predictable than in the past. That means that we need a much more agile approach to project management, where feedback loops are much shorter and so that we can react and correct faster. For example, we need to define smaller work packages that can be done in a week or even less, instead of those 3-month milestones that you have in many traditional projects. The importance of planning in this approach is not in how thorough you plan or how detail-oriented you are. You cannot foresee a lot of things when the changing context is so complex. Rather, preparation and planning should be used to reach more clarity within the project team, but also between sponsor, project team, and stakeholders, so that goals, scope, and key terms and concepts are clear to everybody and they can guide you through the project together. Second, working across distance requires new ways of communicating using online tools. For many, this technical dimension of virtual work is the biggest challenges to a more satisfying and productive teamwork. Knowing which tools to use and how to use them is only one aspect of this challenge. The other one is integrating the tool into your work processes. That requires that you and your team review and adapt the way you work together, change your workflows and processes. Third, team differences, communication issues, misunderstandings lead much faster to severe problems for the teams, and they can even undermine trust or end in open conflicts. Does that mean we need a new way of thinking about leadership? Not really. It means more that the concepts and approaches that have been taught in business courses in the last decades can still be applied and should still be applied, but they really have to be applied now. In the virtual work situation, carelessness in leadership will be punished much more easily. How? With distance. Appointments are not met, employees do not appear to the agreed upon meetings, they leave meetings. Collaboration just doesn't take place anymore. And worst of all, you can hardly do anything against it. Classical command and control actions, methods have no effect. People just disregard you. One of the consequences is that leaders have to be very explicit in communicating with their team. Can you be sure that everybody comes at the same time when you agree to meet at 10 a.m.? What time zone did you refer to? Does everybody have the same understanding of punctuality? If you are on Facebook or Twitter, you might have connections who post what they ate and where they are at any given time during the day. For me, that often makes me frown because I find it useless news. In a virtual team, these bits of information can, however, go a long way in getting to know each other and creating team cohesion. If my teammates and I sit in the same office, there's a lot of stuff I know about them, a lot of context information I get without actively seeking it out. I will naturally know what they ate, when they go for lunch, if they have to travel or not. Within a project team, in a virtual project team, I have to seek out that information much more actively. To summarize, a good project manager has to master classical project management methods to be able to prepare, plan, and monitor the project. She also has to be skilled in using technology to effectively work across distance. And she has to master virtual leadership and facilitation to motivate and engage her team.